Who's wrong and who's wronger? In this corner, followed by millions, James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell. And in that corner, ignored by millions, Steve Olivas. All right, man, another week has gone by. James, it feels like we were just here a minute ago.
It does. I'm already sick of your face.
Sitting across from me in Journey 2 Studios is James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell. He's a guy that doesn't get invited to family holidays anymore since he served peanut butter and jelly at Thanksgiving that one year. That's what happens when you have kids. James Breakwell and Steve Olivas, that's me. I'm not exploding anything in particular. James, I need a nickname, man.
You know what? When you earn a nickname, you'll have a nickname. I'll let you know when you get there.
Welcome to Wrong and Wronger, the podcast that both of our mothers listen to and apparently have not told any of their friends about, where we argue each week about topics that we secretly feel everyone listening wishes they were one of us, because everyone's got a strong opinion of this stuff.
Everyone. Without exception.
Well, apparently there's a lot of exceptions. If you've never heard of us, you're one of billions, believe me. But this week is no exception to the greatness that we strive to achieve. What are we going to argue about this week, James?
Chunky peanut butter versus smooth.
Smooth versus chunky peanut butter. And before we get underway, before you hear the ping of the Guam Quarter of Fate, we say something nice about each other.
All right, well, I'm going to start because I have something very nice to say about you today.
I'll be the judge of that.
I just recently discovered that you have had your blanket fort, your prized blanket fort in your living room, has been up for 15 years. It just had a big anniversary.
It's true. It makes my wife a little nuts, but I've invited her in several times. I've tried to lure her in with the,
lure is the right word.
of candy and ice cream and even booze on a couple of occasions, and I drank it myself. But it's where I go to cry. It's like Superman. He goes to the North Pole to just have a good cry, and that's where I go to cry because people point out to me all the time, aren't you the guy on that podcast with the exploding unicorn? And I have nothing to say but tears.
Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself for many reasons. Not necessarily for this podcast, but there's enough other shame there to cause the tears.
And who doesn't love a good blanket fort? Come on, you put pillows around that thing. You can have food in there. You can put, like, no girls allowed, which is just de facto in my life. But
I'm just impressed by the buttress system, really.
I used the Gothic design. I like the flying buttress, and I was going to make a blanket cathedral at first, but I ran out of blanket.
Also, you've been excommunicated for many years, and they were not consecrated. The bishop wanted nothing to do with you.
I could respond to that, but it would probably offend some people.
Okay.
Nobody that I know. I did get kicked out of a Jesuit institution, though. I did get kicked out of Marquette University in 1986 because
Did you get kicked out for drinking?
No, all right. Why do you have to put that specific of a question before me?
Because being a Catholic institution, to get kicked out for drinking is kind of ungodly, because that's what Catholics are all about.
Okay,
so,
then the direct answer to your question is no. It was more the consequence of drinking that got me kicked out. Well, let me say...
If you learned to handle your booze like a good Catholic, you would have been fine.
Oh, well, so you can say this because you're Catholic. Is that right? That you can just go, oh my...
absolutely right. I can say anything I want about
When
Catholics.
does your letter from Pope John Paul, who is...
You don't even know who the Pope is now.
He was one of them.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
geez.
2 popes ago. Get with the Pope, Steve.
That was 2 popes ago?
2 popes ago. Benedict, now we got Francis. They can both drink you under the table.
Okay. All right. Well, the Hell Express is about to pull up for you, so let me say something nice pretty quick. With 27 kids that James has, when he is called upon to save Campbell soup labels for a school, that guy is an all-star. In fact, he saved so many soup labels. Actually, his wife did. James really wants nothing to do with this whole parenting thing. But they saved up enough that his older daughter's school got a red and white Maserati from the Campbell's company as a little thank you for all the product they've bought.
Yeah, I asked if I could drive it. They said no. I asked if my 7-year-old could drive it. They said no. So I don't know. What does a school need with a Maserati? To which the principal said, what does a school not need with a Maserati? So there's a school Maserati. It's just there now.
All right, so we will get underway, and as we do every week, we allow the Guam Quarter of Fate to determine which side we argue. And what are the two sides going to be for you today, James?
Heads up, I argue chunky. Tails up, I argue smooth.
All right, heads is chunky, or as the kids say, chunky. All right.
That is not something any kid has ever said.
I said that when I was a kid. Have things changed?
Yeah, well, for one thing, this is why you don't have friends. Have you heard anyone other than yourself say it?
I'm flipping. I'm no longer listening to you. Oh, it hit the desk and bounced. Hold on. All right. It is tails. I'm looking at Guam, so you have creamy.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Because this is the only way to eat peanut butter. So we have the technology to grind and crush peanuts so finely that it is completely smooth and pleasing in texture, uniform, perfect. Why would you ever leave chunks in there? That's a manufacturing defect. Like, it's as the machine's getting warmed up, they're like, what do we do with all this garbage peanut butter with all the chunks in it? I don't know. Let's call it chunky, and somebody like Steve will buy it, and they ship it out there, and you buy it, and you think you're getting a good deal. You're not supposed to like have crunch with your peanut butter. It's supposed to be smooth and creamy. That's the whole point. Nothing in a sandwich should crunch.
Everything.
Like rocks or imperfections in there. Why would you eat like that? I don't understand how you live with yourself and your chunky peanut butter.
When I have a hamburger, the waitress always asks, would you like fries with that? And I always opt for chips because I like a little crunchy with my sandwich. You got to throw some curveballs in there when it comes to texture. It keeps your mouth entertained. Don't quote me out of context with that one. And that's what and that's what we got Catholics, we got dirty, and I haven't even mentioned that I'm not wearing pants because I'm not going to do it. Not in this podcast.
Remember that glorious podcast where you forgot? Can't we go back to that?
No, I've repressed the whole thing. I had hypnosis. But the chunky gives a little texture gradient differential. That's an engineering term. You English majors wouldn't know anything about that. And so when you're eating, you have the peanut butter. You always have jelly, maybe a little honey. Do you know why people like honey with peanut butter? It's not just the sweet. It's letting the honey soak into the bread and get kind of crunchy. A little crusty sugar on that bread is fantastic with peanut butter. Chunky peanut butter shortcuts that whole process and gives it to you right out of the jar. And it makes it easier to spread because you got a little bit of grit that you can bear down into and spread on your bread. It'll hang on to the jelly. It'll make sure to adhere both pieces of bread together, and it gives your mouth something fun to do. And you know how you love that.
What part of grit is appetizing for you, boy? Boy, this sandwich sure is good, but you know what would be better if I poured some dirt in there and made it all crunchy.
I'm not talking kitty litter. I mean peanuts. They're like little taste explosions in the sandwich.
But it's no different. It's a taste explosion of the exact same thing as the cream around it. It's no different. Why is your mouth being entertained by more of the same?
Have you ever had...
What is too lazy to machine it all the way? That's all it is. You're getting the refuse.
You build special machines to make it awesome. They're called the Awesomenators.
I'm going to say that's not a thing. I'm confident without Googling it, there is no Awesomenator that makes the peanut butter. It's just the bad, like the guys who make peanut butter on their first day. Well, that's the garbage first day peanut butter. Sell it to Steve and they ship it out.
Now,
I cannot believe people still buy this. Like, when you look at this and you see chunks in your peanut butter, you should take it back to the store for being incorrect and you tell them you can do better.
No, you can add some of your own peanuts. Just pop a can of Mr. Peanut. And he's got a monocle and spats. How wrong could he be about people like the texture of peanuts? Look at how popular.
So they eat them separately. They don't eat them with the peanut butter cream. They're two separate experiences.
Imagine being able to eat that Mr. Peanut goodness in the form of a sandwich where you cover him in bread and slather him with jelly. And we need like some bad 70s guitar riffs behind me right now. But that's why why you do. You take that goodness of peanut butter, or the goodness of Mr. Peanut, all the peanut stuff, you put it in peanut butter, and then you add little chunks so that you get little, it's like, it's an accelerant that's in your sandwich. Remember the gum that when you would bite down on it, there would be like juice that would squirt into your mouth to add to the flavor? This is what that is. People,
that's not a thing. Steve, again, I don't know who's giving you this candy. Stay away from the van. This is not a thing.
This is where I learned to not wear pants. He was my mentor.
Oh my God. This is... and you thought I crossed the line with the Catholic remarks, huh?
I just yes-anded your point. You disgust me.
I am a master of going up to the line and not over, and you just like jump over the cliff. You're like, I got this one. Woo!
And you just step out of the way.
What would George Washington Carver say?
George Washington Carver, he's the godfather of the peanut.
Yes, and you know what he did? He's like, here is peanut butter, smooth and appropriate. This is a good thing for you to eat. Here are peanuts by the handful.
Hold on, how do you know that? You don't know that.
I did a book report on him in 3rd grade, and they were 2 different things. He made up 10,000 uses for the peanut. And if you combine those, he's down to 9,999.
No. How do you know that
his great accomplishment?
How do you know the first peanut butter was smooth?
Because that's how you would make it. Why would you make it? It doesn't make any sense.
What kind of circle are we running in this crazy argument of yours?
Why would you make chunky peanut butter first? This is a chicken and the egg thing. You make smooth peanut butter and it's perfect, but to get it smooth, sometimes the machine messes up. So you make garbage peanut butter and start people to buy. It's kind of like people who buy grits. Like grits is a garbage byproduct, and some people are like, well, it tastes so good. But only if you have cheese, then all you taste is cheese because you're eating garbage. Grits is a garbage delivery system. And that's what you're getting with chunky peanut butter.
No. See, you can't argue both sides. If you're not willing to concede that the Awesomenator is a thing, and I hearken back to your lack of engineering background to say, how dare you, good sir. But you can't say that back in the Dark Ages, when George Washington Carver was doing his thing with the peanuts, that they had the engineering capability to create creamy peanut butter. It had to be a rudimentary device, some kind of peanut press.
How do you need to smash a peanut? Like, how much do you think? They could do it manually with a hammer and get an adequate creamy experience without the chunks.
No.
They could filter out the chunks with a fine mesh. There are a million things they could have done. I have faith in our forefathers to adequately creamify. And I'm sorry that you are betting against America, Steve.
Did you just use creamify as a verb?
It is a verb.
I'm sorry, you don't even cop to it. You just tell me right to the point that it is a verb.
It is a verb. I didn't make it up.
You know, our other forefather, Noah Webster, might have something to say about that.
Yeah, go look it up. I'll wait while you find creamify in there and apologize to me profusely.
Well, then you go look for the Awesomenator, and you're going to find it.
There's no way.
It might take you a while.
I will bet a substantial sum of money on that, and I will use that money when I win to buy creamy peanut butter and be happy for the rest of my life.
Good. Leave the good stuff for the rest of us. That's normal human beings.
Somebody, like, they give me products they want to endorse, and then I don't because I'm a bad person. But they sent me like $6 worth of fancy deluxe peanut butter. I was like, wow. I feel special. This is really deluxe stuff. And I opened it up, and it was chunky peanut butter. And I just threw it away because it was inedible. My kids won't touch it. I won't touch it. Like, what am I going to do? Sit there and pick out the chunks? Like, it totally ruins it. Why would anyone want to eat that?
Did you just bang the desk? You're getting so passionate?
I bumped the spit guard right there. Did it make a horrible noise?
Yeah.
Did I ruin our podcast?
No, it didn't ruin it. It was like when you were smacking your hand when you were Rocky Balboa a few weeks ago.
Was that loud? Let me do it one more time. Did it reverberate all the way through?
Yeah. I'm just sitting across the table from you. Of course it did.
I'm sorry. Well, if you're sitting across the table, you should have known I didn't smack the desk.
I don't look at you. I would lose
I don't look at you because you're only half clothed, okay?
But I'm a beautiful, beautiful man.
No, this is why you stay in the blanket for it all day. There's a reason you're not allowed to be in the sun.
So your endorsee, or that product, they were surveying the landscape of available peanut butters to send, and they wanted to make it they wanted to up the probability that you would actually endorse it. So they sent you the best one they could find, and they did.
They sent me the product they wanted to give away for free because nobody would buy it. They're like, maybe if James Breakwell likes crappy peanut butter, other people will like crappy peanut butter too. And I said, nay, I have integrity. I will not endorse your terrible peanut butter. get the chunks out, then we'll talk.
You know, peanut
Cut me a
is
check.
right in the word peanut butter. And what better way to pay homage to that word than include some peanut?
Would you enjoy regular butter, Chunky? Have you ever had regular butter and thought, boy, if there were some
What?
hard butter nuts in here?
Where
that
are
would-
you headed with? What is wrong with you?
Because butter on its own is a smooth product. So a butter made from peanuts should be as smooth as margarine or any
Why?
other butter.
Why?
Because it's a butter. It's a peanut-based, kind of like almond milk.
Not
You
some-
wanna taste the almond chunks? You're gonna take a drink of that and choke to death. No, because almond milk.
this
Milk's
is-
the operative word. It takes the texture of milk. It takes the texture of butter.
I said good day, sir. You
Don't
can't, man. This
don't
is a
you stop me
logical
when I'm
fallacy
going.
that you're doing. Not every Chevrolet is a Camaro. Just because
That
it has the
has nothing to do
word
with-
butter in it,
Yes, that's the operative word. Flavor, texture. That's the way it's set
that
up.
you cannot
Almond milk.
arbitrarily decide what the operative word is going to be.
I'm an English major. That's the only thing I can do.
So that is the mountain you will defend, right there.
This is the hill I will die on. We have reached the impasse.
I don't know what to say.
Just admit you're wrong and back off. Take your chunky peanut butter and throw it in the garbage.
And what a travesty that would be to throw away chunky peanut butter.
What other product do you have
It's
that tastes
meaty.
better?
It's got some
thing.
girth, some body to it. It's not mealy.
Name one other product that comes in a chunky and smooth variety where people actually eat the chunky form. Name one.
Spaghetti sauce.
Chunky, that's not even hard. It's like another mushy blob.
First of all, I want at least a verbal high five that on the spot I thought of something that had a chunky and a
I will
smooth
acknowledge
variety.
you came close with something. I didn't think there was anything. You got me there.
Oh my
It was
God.
one thing. I've never had chunky potato pasta
I'm
sauce. so
arguing with
I'm
an 8-year-old. I swear to
I'm
God.
guessing that's a thing because you sound very certain, but you also sounded very certain about the Awesomenator. But like if you put sauce in there and mix it up, it's all gonna smooth out. It's not gonna stay chunky. And that chunky, there's nothing hard. There is no crunch to that. There is no other smooth product that you add crunch to. Not one.
Wow, you know what? You're right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
I am right. I win. Podcast over forever.
This is like those ridiculous crafted apologies that people are forced to read to the media when they don't mean it at all, and yet all of the other side is going, oh my God, oh, thank you so much for that apology. That's you saying, oh good, he admitted that I won.
Well, you did. You literally just said, I win. I'm pretty sure those words left your mouth. I don't know what you want from me.
All right.
You admitted defeat, backed away, and now you're trying to walk it back and say you did.
I didn't
It's
realize
recorded, Steve.
you were Sheldon Cooper here. All right.
Although you control the recording, so I guess you could just delete all this. I'm just telling you now, people, 2 people listening, if this podcast is 2 minutes long, he cut out all the parts where I was right.
It's going to be a 4-minute podcast. Oh, people would rejoice. All right, we got to go. We're 17 and a half minutes here, and it's time to let these people get on with their lives.
Yes, they're smooth, chunk-free lives.
Let us know what you you know what? I don't care what you think, because I'm right. Keep it to yourselves, people. Now I'm angry. But if you want to write to James and tell him that he's wrong, please do. Get in touch with him on Facebook, like his fan page, and follow his fan page. All of his jokes, I think you get your Twitter jokes linked to your Facebook account, don't they?
Yes, they're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're on Pinterest, they're on Tumblr. There's no getting away from me. I'm sorry, I've ruined the internet.
Well, you can follow him on all of those and enjoy this Exploding Unicorn several times a day. I don't see how, but a lot of people do. Or get in touch with me, or follow me on Twitter at Steve Olivas. Steve is spelled with a V, and Olivas is Olivas. We're going to actually come back next week if I can muster enough strength to put myself through this indignity one more time. At least let me know what we're going to talk about next week, James.
Yes, we are going to talk about I have no idea.
Thank you for that insight. Until then, this is Steve Olivas for the Exploding Unicorn. James Breakwell saying thank you for listening, everybody.